All right, hey there. Good morning, everybody. Christopher Franks with Texas West Capital. It's just after 11 a.m. Central Standard Time here on Monday, the 18th of January, 2021, San Antonio, Texas. Great to have you all with me. Just a real quick thing here, guys. No matter what your position is on just how dangerous coronavirus may or may not be, do me a favor and just be careful regardless. Because if you are susceptible, if you do have, especially some underlying medical issues, that can turn out a lot worse. Some of y'all know, I've already lost a friend to it, and then my aunt just got out of the hospital. She spent a week in there with COVID and ended up with pneumonia and everything, and that was pretty freaky little bit of time there. So, but she made it through, thankfully. So anyway, guys, just take care of yourselves out there, all right? Regardless of honestly of how you feel about just how bad it is or isn't. There are people who are very susceptible to it. So you don't want that to be your family member, your friend, or anything, right? Or yourself. So be careful. Hey there, Hank. Good to see you. Scott, Bill checking in. Bill, what's going on, man? Haven't talked to you in a while, buddy. Hope you're doing all right, even though you're locked down over there in the UK. Hey there, Devin, Nevlusian, Data. Good to see you guys. Crypto Mowgli is here. Thomas Payne as well. Checking in from DFW. Let me see here. Tell you, Ryder, what's going on, man? Brian's here. Budman's here. Martin's here. Guglielmo, hello, sir. Good to see you. Thanks, Hank. Yeah, definitely, for sure. Let me see here. Lewis Winthorpe III, how are you doing, my friend? Let's see. Everybody else here? Deep Quantum Crypto, good afternoon. Good to see you. Let me see here. Oh no, Rolo, is that what that is? Good to see you, man. But yeah, Gian. Let me see here. Oh man, how are you doing, man? Good to see you here. Padge is here as well. Oh man, Bill, sorry to hear that, buddy. That's tough, man. Again, COVID's doing its thing, guys. I'm one that doesn't really care to wear a mask. It drives me nuts. So I don't go out as much as I would normally go out as a result. But, I do make sure to wear something out there. I'm not sure how well it really works, but, nothing worth taking that chance, So, hey there, Farm D. Good to see you. Hey, everybody. So, as always, let you know, you can join us at howtotradetowin.com. We'd love to have you join us. We do still have the 25% off. For a while there, I was saying 20%, but it was 25% off. So I've gone ahead and extended it through the end of the month. So, jump in there. It's all the tiers that we offer, all the packages we offer. If you join up for more than 1 month, you're already getting a discount, and then you'll get an extra 25% discount on top of that. So if you'd like to join us, we'd love to have you. Come on in. Tier 3 is where it's at. Tier 3. I've really got to update this site here, but we've got over 50 hours of educational video content now. Over 50 setups a week usually. We have 20 assets that we, instruments that we update daily and or intraday. We do a weekly tier 3 stream on Wednesdays. That's usually about an hour long. We go in depth on some technique or something that help them trade better. All that great stuff, chart request, all that kind of stuff. Again, try it for a month, see if you like it. Most people do. Making some money off it. So there it is. By the way, guys, we were doing hot takes. We were originally doing it 3 times a week. I'd do it late Sunday night, Tuesday night, and Thursday night. And we're changing something new this week. We're going to start doing them every day. We're going to do a few every day. See how that works out. See if we can get more opportunities. So if you are tier 3, don't forget we'll be doing it. And there's no specific time during the day in which the setups will be updated. They'll just be updated, as we find them throughout the day as we're going through the charts. And I'll put them over there in the same channels that we always have them in. So we got that. Still working on an automated alert system to let you know when the break, or, not right before, but a little bit before the breakouts happen, or the validation levels, price goes through them. So just kind of help you guys out a bit there as well. That shouldn't be too much longer. We'll have that done. So, You shared this with a friend, so make it a good one. Oh, man, they're always good ones. Hey there, Sir Hole. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and jump into it, see where we're at here. So Bitcoin. We talked last week about this triangle possibility. Right now, my primary count that I'm following is, as you see here, which has it ABC for A, then B, C, then D, and looking at finishing E. I think, this is the 1 hour and 4 hour pivot right here. You can note what's good to watch here, guys, when you're looking at triangles, especially if they come more symmetrical than not. Watch this area right here. So you can see prior to the triangle, we're finding resistance, right? And it comes through its resistance here. It comes back through, it becomes support, right? And then you come up through there. So it's just kind of everything kind of comes toward this middle area right here. So I'm looking at this kind of area, right there around the pivot as the finish, okay? If it is, if the triangle plays out, it doesn't matter where it finishes off. But if the triangle completes, then you've got a pattern target of $11,916 or so dollars above where Wave E terminates. So like if Wave E were to terminate right here at the swing low, you just kind of move this up here. And you'd say, okay, off that bottom there, we've got a target of, 11,916 off that. So, that would be close to about 47,810. If you're coming off the pivot, if Wave E ends up right there at the pivot, it's going to give you a target up there of around 47,300, right around that area, 47,250, 47,300. Now, there are some other possibilities, though. This is the main one right here, but there is the possibility that D is not done yet. In this case, okay, let's start back a little bit. There's a possibility that C isn't done yet, okay? You could have maybe like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as A, B, C for B, and you have C finishing off down here, all right? That's still a possibility right now. If price drops below this Wave C low here at about 34,000 or so here on Coinbase, then that'll be your first clue that it may not be done yet, okay? So then you want to look down here at around, 31,400 or so, that high volume node there. Potentially the S1 pivot at 30,580, 30,590, right around there. And that could be your Wave C. And then in that case, you'll have, 3 more up for D and then 3 more down for E. The other possibility is that C is done, but D is not done. And maybe this is, A here. And then we're coming back for B, and then we'll have 3 more up for C. If that's the case, the first place I'd be interested in looking is this high volume node here at about 38,470, and potentially this node right below the top up there around 39,590 or so. And that could finish D, and then you'd still have 3 more down for E, and I think E would still come down toward this area. Let's see here. So C, D, E, okay. So and of course the other thing is maybe it's not even a triangle at all. Those of you that have been at least in crypto long enough, you've seen many times where we've had these that look like this, and you get really close and everybody tries to front run the breakout and they get caught because price ends up not being, price action is actually not a triangle. It just looks like it. It's just got this consolidation going on. And so then they try to, before you get the confirmation of, to go long, they go long trying to beat everybody else, and then they get caught and it goes the other way. So if this isn't a triangle, then we're probably looking at an A, a B, and then we've got a C down here, at least toward 28,271. That's kind of where we're at right now, guys. There's always the possibility, I guess, that this could be 4 down here. So this is a 3, this is a 4. And then, I know my count isn't updated yet, but, until this plays out, we're good. This top is still in until it's not anymore, right? But it's possible maybe maybe you got a 1 to 5 possible ABC, so you've got a 1 and a 2. That's possible. Because you have a leading diagonal here if you do. So just a quick thought on that. If that's it, if 4 is done down here and this is a 1, 2 and working on it, 1, 2 here, and then we're in the early stages of Wave 3, normally we would look for wave 3 up here at the 1618 extension, which is about 50,000. And then wave 5, we'd normally look up at the 2.0 extension right there around 53,850. I think this is probably the least likely of the alternatives right now. I really think we're probably doing a triangle. If not, I think we're doing an AB with a C lower down here, just a zigzag. And then I think after all that, I think then the possibility that 4 is already done here and we're heading up. By the way, this is just where we would normally expect it to go. There's nothing saying that we can't have an ending diagonal type thing going on with wave 5 here. So you go 1, 2, and if it's an ending diagonal, in that case, you have an A, B, C as a 1, 2. And you'll have an A, B, C as a 3, 4, and then an A, B, C as a 5. And you're probably only getting up to maybe around this 45,400 level. I think that would probably be the way that would end up if it was. I don't think we'd go way up there, but it's possible. So really what you're looking for is you're looking for confirmation via levels, guys. You're looking for price to make it through levels. So what does that mean? That means I don't think it's a smart idea to short here. I think you can, if you feel like you have to absolutely get in a position, you shouldn't feel that way. But if you do, I think you can long here, but your invalidation level doesn't come until below wave B or wave C over here. All right? I don't think shorting's the way to go from right here because the trend is up and there's a potential triangle here. So, your odds are more lopsided toward it going up. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to short it right there. So like I said, I think, you could potentially go long if you wanted to, but I wouldn't. I'd wait to see what happens here. I don't think it's really smart to get anywhere between wave C and wave D here. If you pop up above wave D, okay, great. You look for wave B, and then you look at the target above. If you drop down here below the pivot, then things start getting interesting. You look at this swing low and then wave C. If you drop through that wave C swing low, again, at that point you'll be looking down here around this S1 pivot. And if you continue down through that swing low, you're going to be looking down here at this, around this demand structure EQ right there around 28,270 or so. But you have to have patience, guys. You absolutely have to have patience to play this, and most new traders don't have that. They haven't learned the importance of patience yet, which is unfortunate, obviously. It's not really good, being impatient like that, because you end up getting in trades that you shouldn't get in. I don't know. I don't see a real valid reason unless you're just taking risks to take risks to get in between, C and D at the moment right here. Now, if you can zoom in here and you can maybe get an ABC down here and then you see a good reversal off the bottom here, watch for your 15-minute to dip down into oversold maybe. Maybe get some bullish divergence or something. See right here, you could put... I don't like the large dip here with the RSI, but you could potentially get a lower low here between this point yesterday and then now, and you can still get a higher low here. And so there's some possibility there. If I look at this real quick, I look at this, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, that tells me that's done that way. So we're just looking at the downside here. If you zoom in here, I don't know, even 3-minute, I guess, really kind of get in there. This looks like it's probably a triangle here. A, B, C, D, E. So that would either be a B or a 4. So I think maybe it's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe. And this would then give you an ABC up here for B, which gives you a 1, 2, 3, 4, working on 5 here. Might just be a 1, 2, 3, you got a 4 here, still got a 5 to go, come down a little bit lower. Something like that. If I'm looking at it, that's what I'd see. But there's nothing in that at the moment that tells me you should be buying and just going long at the moment. Now, your 5-minute overall, you've got lower lows in price, higher lows in the oscillator. But again, it's the five. It's it's not even 5 minutes. It's the 3 minute time frame. So it's kind of with the grain of sand kind of idea when you're looking at such a short time frame. I'd zoom out to the 15 and watch that. I wouldn't go any lower than that. Doesn't make any sense. Let me see here. Let me kind of catch up with you guys real quick here. What do we got going on here? Amber Lee, what's going on? Thank you so much. I appreciate you for sure. I'm Deuce. What's that? Says I don't think C is done in the triangle. You got C ending at 32,965 using the wicks from the bottom part of the structure. Let me go ahead and pull out there a little bit. Yeah, usually, the waves usually retrace 61. I say usually. We look for them to retrace 61.8 of the previous wave. So, if you were to look at that, wave C here, I don't know, that's 61.8 right there. But you said you're looking at 32,965. That's almost the 70.5. Is that this right here? Almost. It's almost that high volume node there, right around the swing low here. Yeah, definitely possible. Like I said, we'll find out, which one it is, depending on if we, drop down below wave. What we have is wave C here for sure. The 1 hour here, we're about neutral now on the Stochar RSI, just south of neutral, just a little bit bearish than neutral. Price action is neutral right there at 40, almost 46 on RSI there. The way everything comes together on the pivot here, just from that alone, you would assume normally everything seems to be hovering along this pivot. Again, you had the resistance support level right in that same area, which creates that pivot eventually. So it seems like all this interest is right in this kind of area right here. And so that would make a good wave E target area to bounce out of. But, again, as I said, until it actually does it and gets that reversal and heads up above wave D here, it could still continue down there below wave C. And you just go, okay, well, here's here's A, here's B, and here's C coming down for C. So, yeah, possible still. We got to see if this pivot holds up. I'm not usually a big fan. Being a pivots trader previously, I'm not a big fan of this playing around a pivot idea. So this would come down to C here, and then D, and then E, all bouncing up and down around the pivot. Especially like, this is the 1 hour, 4 hour pivot. Usually not. I usually don't expect that. So this probably got me a little bit more biased toward, if this is a triangle, toward E being finished here. But that doesn't mean I'm right in any way, shape, or form. It just means that, again, just based on what I'm used to with pivots, most of the time, sometimes it happens, most of the time you don't have price just kind of bouncing up and down through it. It goes through it and hits the next pivot. And then it figures out something. So that's why I was saying if it's wave C, I think there's potentially a good chance it could get down here, at least pretty close to this S1 pivot and turn back up and head up. Like sometimes it heads up the R1, comes back to the pivot and then goes or drops on through it. Same idea here. Come on down toward the bottom area here. And then either move up here and get rejected down and come on down here toward, toward this minimum zigzags, wave C down here target. Or it just goes up through there and continues up. So, yeah. Yeah, if you see this whole thing here. Yeah, there we go. Again, it kind of shows you, right now we're hovering between that 65 or so and 38.2, really 61.8 and 38.2 kind of area right now. So we just got to wait and see which one pulls out there. But definitely a possibility on Deuce for sure. Let me see here. Guglielmo, what's up? Says, I was wondering how much the white space between the waves on a triangle affects its validity. I don't know that it really affects it a whole lot. Remember, the whole idea of the triangle, the pattern itself just kind of results from what's going on. Remember, the idea of what's going on in a triangle is that there's consolidation, there's a shortening of the range. And sometimes that takes longer to play out. I've seen some somewhat long triangles play out really well before. Usually the longer price consolidates, the larger the larger and stronger the breakout or breakdown when it happens. So I think, again, I don't think there's anything out there that says, the waves have to be a certain size or anything. But usually, again, as with most consolidations or consolidations general, the longer it consolidates, the longer it continues that consolidation, the stronger and the larger the breakout or the breakdown on it. Data, you said you think this is a triangle within a triangle. So this right here. So this is D, but the larger D is still on its way. So you're thinking maybe like A, B, C, D, E. Yeah, I mean, that's possible as well. Sure. What Data's looking at, guys, is this right here. Because wave B can also be a triangle. And so you have A down here, and then you have A, B, C, D, E. You'll finish off A, this will finish off B, and then you'll have C coming down. Definitely a possibility as well. Sure. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And, with all this continued consolidation here, yeah, it would make sense. The only thing, obviously, that would invalidate that is a definite move here above this swing high, before it finishes. So if you think this is A, B, and C here, and then D, if it doesn't finish out A and continue down, but instead continues up above this swing high, right there, 37,948, then yeah, that would invalidate it. If this was to continue to come down, because again, you're looking at A, B, C, D. So if D were to continue down below this swing low here, that would invalidate that triangle as well. But yeah, definitely still a possibility there as well. Sure. Excuse me. Hank says the DXY is looking like it will at least pretend to reverse. Looks a lot like the 13K top. What looks a lot like the 13K top? You don't mean the DXY, do you mean Bitcoin? Let's see here. Here's I haven't really taken a look at the DXY today other than just a glance real quick and see it continued up. That could still be a B here. We could still have an A, and then a B, and then a C coming down. If I look at this right now, I start thinking, potentially 1, 2, 3, but it's got to get up there higher because right here, here's the problem for me. If this is 1, 2 here, then we've only got up here, between 1, 2, 3, 6 and 1, 3, 8, 2 for wave 3. Wave 3 is, you're looking for that 1, 6, 1, 8 up there. Is it possible? Let me see here. Is it possible maybe with this kind of crazy looking count here that this is 1 and then we have an A, B, C, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 down here. I mean, it's possible we could have an expanded flat there. I'm not sure that really helps out the wave 3 target a whole lot. It gets us pretty close. So, I mean, I guess I could potentially see this as wave 3. It's just short of that, what would be that 1618 there if this is 1 here. And this is an ABC down for A, ABC up for B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for C. Gives you an expanded flat there. That's a possibility on that. Sure. What I'm noticing, though, is you're not getting a lot of decline, but you're getting a lot of resetting on your RSI and your Stochh RSI. So, you're getting a lot more of that reset. Whoops. So you're getting a lot more of that reset than what the price is resetting. And usually that's indicative of bullishness, in this case, because we're going up. So we'll have to see how this continues to play out here. I mean, if this is if that's a 1 here and this expanded flat, we would expect wave 4 to target at least the 23.6, but more likely the 38.2 here. And once you get that 38.2, so you come down here with A, you go up for B, you come down here for C, B, then you get your C down here, and then you go up here at least to this 91,154 for wave 5. And in that case, what that means is that we've got, again, potentially this 1, 2 right here. But that doesn't get you a 3, I don't think, up there. Let me see. Oh, yeah, nowhere near a 3. So you would have a 1, 2, 1, 2. So, and this would make sense. This would set you up for a large wave 3 move through here. So you get 1, 2 down here. And then that would bring you what here? See if you got your 61.8 down there. That pretty much, rechecks the resistance to support here. So you have a 1, 2, and then you have a 1, 2, 3, 4. That gives you a 5 up there around 92.85, but that actually becomes this 3 then. Which means you have a 5 closer up here to around 90, 93.5, 94. Or something like that. So I think there's definitely some possibility in that. I think that really sets up that move much higher. Remember, it's the move above this wave 4 here that really starts to make us feel like, okay, maybe that bottom's in. That's the first clue right there. The big one is the movement through this descending channel resistance. Remember, that's that one that's been there since up here at the top, since up here in March. So 1, 2, and we're coming up for that third touch to push through. So if we push through it, that's a pretty good indication that the top is probably in. As far as everything else goes, here's some big things to look at. The daily, we pushed up through it on a large candle there, closed above it, and the top of the days yesterday, above that daily pivot. So, that's a good thing. We want to see some some definite continued move up above that local swing high right there. It's their wave 4. Getting up beyond the other wave 4 up here. And that becomes your next target up here at 94.742. So, yeah. No guarantees for sure. But, DXY is really kind of printing up a real good argument for it being, reversed, the bottom being in. Euro USD seems to agree with that. USD yen looks like it may still be working on a wave 2 potentially, but looks bullish more than not. As do a lot of the other USD pairs. USD Swiss franc looks like it's bottomed out as well. So yeah. Hey there, Kerouac. Good to see you. You got these idiots. I tell you right or no, go away. And people going, do you want to be famous? Nah, we're good. Hank says he's been short since around 39,000. We'll patiently wait till he gets stopped out at break even, or we'll be happy seeing it go down. Talking about Bitcoin, right? Yeah. El Cheese there says, do you see Ethereum breaking out? Looks like a wedge is forming. If it breaks out to the upside, we could be looking at all-time highs. Potentially. Ethereum should move with Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin doesn't break out, I think it's a little bit longer till Ethereum does potentially. But yeah, I mean, if Bitcoin breaks out and heads higher, Ethereum should go as well. Let's see here. Let me see here. Let me see here. How do I feel about hot nowadays? Haven't looked in it in a while. I know it had some recent good movement, hot USDT. But, again, it's one of those ones. Same thing I warned about back when we were trading it and, making all that money. I said, it's one of those ones that has the possibility it could really take off, especially, if the bottom of the market's in and everything rises. I said, but, it's not one of those ones you want to put your life savings in because you're taking a big chance on something that's new and low cap and may or may not. Usually when you get in that low, if you can get in around, 10 sats or 9 sats or something, often, if you've got patience, it'll hit 50 or 100 sats or Lord knows, 2,000 sats or something like that. But you have to have patience, again. And that's only if, I think hot takes off if all the market continues to rise. Again, it's that whole idea of Bitcoin goes up and is bullish and rising tide lifts all ships. And we're seeing some alts that are moving, but we're not seeing anything significant yet, and this is weird, right? Because, hey, Bitcoin's, twice the all-time high right now. Why are alts kind of being sluggish at times, right? Again, I'm not convinced that this is a bull run yet. It would seem to me that if it was, that alts should be staging some kind of real movement. And they're not really. Like I said, some of them, you can cherry pick a few of them, but the idea has always been that if Bitcoin rises, everything else kind of comes with it. It pulls everything up with it. And here we are at twice the all-time high, and what's going on with alts? So I'm not necessarily convinced that this is a bull market yet. It could be. And you can still trade up, guys. Again, you can still long. You don't, just because you're talking about a bigger, longer term, longer range idea, doesn't mean you can't trade anti to that idea along the way. Because it's got to find it. If you think it's just a some kind of corrective move before it heads lower or something, it still has to find a top. You can still trade it to a top, guys. I think many of y'all are not getting that yet. You think that, it has to stop right there. No. Just because somebody has a bigger idea of something that may take a year to play out doesn't mean that all of a sudden you stop trading. No. Excuse me. Let's see here. Are most traders in TWC, I think is what you're asking, Byron, doing spot trading or doing leverage trading through Femix? I don't know for sure. I know we've got a lot of leverage traders that are trading there. A lot of them are doing that. I think they're probably mostly doing leveraged, but I know a couple of them have leveraged accounts that also have spot, that they also trade spot as well. Because it's crazy not to have the spot thing because, again, you don't have to take on any extra leverage. You can trade really small movements, and, you just pay your monthly fee. So, yeah. Excuse me. Let me catch up with you guys here. Hey there, Silvio. Good to see you. Let me see. Just kind of catch up with you guys here. I'm just trying to read what Hank is saying here. I'm not sure who he's talking to, though. Hank says current top structure. Okay, yeah, you're answering from earlier when I was asking. You said in Bitcoin here is what you're looking at, right? You're saying this looks a lot like 13, which would have been last, right here, which would have been last June. So what Hank's saying, he says no immediate reversal, but the start of a slow bleed down whilst everyone is buying the distribution because they're expecting a pump. Yeah, still very much a possibility. Again, I've still got my count, which has 5 done up here. But just waiting to see what goes on here. I just want you guys, man, you know what? Honestly, I want you guys to be really careful about thinking this necessarily has to be a triangle here. This does not have to be a triangle. It looks potentially like one at the moment. But until it gets confirmed, it could very well just be some consolidation before a stronger push down. So basically, again, you would look at this. Remember, I've had this counted as 5 down here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3. So you can get a 1, 2 here. Consolidation before 3 really pushes. I mean, that's what could be happening here as well. So you just got to take your time, be a little careful with it, guys, all right? I see too many people getting way too excited about the triangle here and just trying to jump into it. People already longing up here, which was almost $1,000 above where we're at right now. Because they were expecting, that to be E done and it's continuing up. You guys are going to make so much more money if you wait for confirmations. You really will. You're going to miss some trades, sure. But at the end of the day, if you look at the composite of all your trades over a year or 2 years or 3 years or whatever, and you look at, okay, if I waited for confirmation, you generally should be way further ahead in your capital account than what you would be just buying the breakout. Because there's so many false breakouts, guys. In order for a breakout to be correct, you have to be correct that it's an area that's breaking out. You have to be correct on whatever pattern you're looking at. Now, you guys don't have to be honest with me here, but you got to be honest with yourselves. How often are you correct about a pattern or a significant level, right? The newer you are, especially, the harder it is to be more sure about that. So, just understand your limits as a human being, guys. Stop trying to think. I think one of the worst things we get from social media is that these accounts make you believe that you have to know where the tops and bottoms are, or whatever. Then they don't even know where it is, guys. You know how many people delete tweets on Twitter? It's ridiculous. They come because they go out there and they say things, they guarantee you things to get you to follow them. So then they can sell you stuff, right? But there are no guarantees in trading, guys. You absolutely have to understand that. So if you're taking serious advice from somebody that's guaranteeing you something, I would think twice about that. Doesn't mean you can't watch it to maybe see if it plays out, but understand that if it plays out, it's not because they're that smart that they could guarantee it. It's because they were lucky. I mean, that's life, guys. You're not going to find anybody who's been trading for any number of years that tells you that they can guarantee what the market's going to do. Only the new guys guarantee you. And then they're usually gone within, pretty short time. So be careful with that. Let me see here. You're finally on board with my count on the DXY, bullish on the DXY, bear on Bitcoin. And then I overcounted the DXY. I'm not really worried about a whole lot. I mean, I just give you some possibilities here because people are looking at it. But here's what I think. I think of course, the other possibility here is maybe you get an ABC down and an ABC up. And so you have a bit of an expanded flat and you get, again, that's your ABC here. But what I think is if Bitcoin is doing a triangle, it's going to break out sooner rather than later and it's going to move up pretty quick. Because there's not going to be a whole lot of time before the DXY is done, pulling back and it's heading back up again. And if it's headed back up again, you guys see Bitcoin, with all this, y'all are excited about all this interest and all this buying of Bitcoin, but it can't even move up right now, which is that little bit of movement by the DXY here. So what happens when the DXY really pushes off? And I'll tell you what, if there's going to be a pullback for a 2 and a 3 through there, that's going to be a strong 3 pushing through there. If you think Bitcoin's having trouble right now with the way the DXY is handling, it's not even really been overly impulsive yet. It's really going to have trouble when it really takes off. So, again, just some thoughts on that, guys. Let's see here. Kerouac says a rising channel breakdown in play. Similar channel played out yesterday. Could invalidate the triangle I mentioned. You'd have to tell me where that rising channel starts and where you're looking at there, Kerouac. Let me see here. Hey there, Baker. Good to see you. Let me see here. What do I think of the Bitcoin ascending channel on the weekly time frame? Let's go look over here. Let's see here. Well, we had this one, which we were watching for a while. And this one closed out there in the 30s, I believe. Yeah. That one closed out right there around 30, yeah. Are you talking about this big one here? Coming from around the 2016, 2015 low there, pushing up. We're right there at that EQ. Are you talking about something more local there? Let me see here. Okay, you're talking about something lower, I guess, because you said the channel low begins. Oh, okay, there you go. The channel low begins the week of March 9th. 2020. Oh, you're talking about right. Okay, you're talking about the this one then, right here, right? Yeah, you're talking about this. I assume though that where are you finding your top? You're talking right there. Okay, let me show you something. Let me get to a different chart here, a cleaner chart, real quick. Let's see if Bitstamp here. All right. So if we're looking at that channel, let me show you something real quick on that. So this is the one Farm D is looking at right here. And you pull this up here. Now, what you notice is on Bitstamp here, kind of bring this down here a bit. On Bitstamp, you can see you drop back down into it, right? But if you look at what's going on with, say, Coinbase here, Coinbase, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more interesting. So Coinbase comes up here. Oh, well, no, it didn't. Okay, never mind. Oh, you know what I was looking at? I'm sorry. I was looking at this right here. Because if you get it right here, then it's right above it. So never mind. Never mind. I'll catch back up with you guys here. See, I'm not a big fan. If I'm looking at channels and things, I'm not a big fan when price drops back into them. That to me tells me that resistance that you're trying to get through is not really as significant as what you may have been looking for. Because you're looking for something that breaks out and then maintain, it respects that resistance. So, if you've got resistance going up here, what you're looking for is price to break out, come back, and then continue up. You're looking for it to respect that resistance. And instead, with this one now, what we have is this right here. And it's sitting right here right now. So the question is, does it break up there? Whoops. Does it break up here, or does it just kind of continue down? I'm just, it gives you more, okay, let me put it this way. Had it bounced, had it respected that resistance as support and continued on, just pushed up here a bit, I would have a lot more confidence that price is going to a new high. But the fact that it's doing this kind of thing, makes it kind of iffy. It throws some what do you want to call it? It throws some possibilities that it may not be doing it in there. I mean, right now in the weekly, we're finding resistance at the R1 weekly pivot. I mean, for all intents and purposes, guys, everything else aside right now, as far as the weekly goes, we moved in between the pivot and the R1, and we're being rejected so far at the R1. Now, it's only been a few weeks and it's a weekly, so maybe you could say we're consolidating under the R1. But for right now, the R1's providing that resistance. And so if it can't get up there, what we should generally look at for price, let me get rid of this channel here. Generally the way you look at it if you're playing pivots here is that if it gets rejected, you look for it to come on back down here at least to the pivot. And sometimes you might get a bounce and then continue down to the S1. But you usually, if you move in sideways and it continues up the R1 pivot and it gets rejected there, almost exclusively it comes back to the pivot and rechecks that pivot or falls through it. So that pivot's down here at around 21,000. So that opens up a whole can of worms the other way, because here's the thing. If this is instead of a triangle, I said there's a possibility that this could be a 1 down here, right? We got a 5 count down there, then ABC for 2, and this could be consolidating for a big push for 3, right? Or even C. But I think, again, if you're looking at that, you're looking at potentially, I think if you're looking at that weekly, I'll move down here toward, look at that, it was perfect, right there at the wave 3. Right down there around 21,000, it gives you a wave 5 down here around 16.5. And if that's 5 down, guess what? At minimum, or the best you can hope for, is this is wave A. You'll have 3 up for wave B, and you'll have 5 more down for wave C then. So there's still not a lot for sure in here. At least on, I don't know, if you're looking at the 12-hour here, your Stochastic RSI is down and oversold, but you're riding the median here. You're riding the neutral area for RSI, and it's been in a downtrend. So until, you break market structure in your RSI and you start making higher highs and higher lows, it's still in a downtrend. So you've got to be careful, assuming that things have to break out and head up right now. Because, this is kind of what you're looking at the moment here. In terms of RSI, it's not only just in a downtrend, but it's below the EQ of that descending channel there as well. So just take it easy while you're in here, guys. Don't jump ahead. Now, what's positive, again, is the fact that we've got this area right here, this support area. And right now, we're kind of sitting like this. And so that's good. We're sitting on top of this. But if this breaks down, we come down into this, I don't know that it just continues this larger triangle. I think the odds increase significantly that you head down to a new lower low. Now, whether that has to get down to 16.5 or not, we'll see. But for right now, I think if you're breaking down this, most especially this area right here where we have all the candle spreads at, if you're breaking down below that and getting into these wicks, all of a sudden you're starting to get supply pressure into the demand that's sitting here. And it's already pushed down through the demand that was sitting here. So it becomes more of a, we might just kind of, as Hank was saying, slow bleed down. It's just going to eat away at all this down here, and everybody's going to keep telling you to buy the dip. You don't buy the dip just to buy the dip, guys. And if you do buy the dip, you need to know where your stop loss needs to be, because you could be wrong. But don't just blindly buy dips, guys. Or blindly buy, rejections or sell rejections. You got to put some more thought into your trading. Let me see here. Telluride says, definitely my worst trades of all time were where some stranger online sold me a scenario in FOMO. Yeah. It happens a lot, guys. And like I said, it's not that you're terrible or anything. You're human beings. We're all human beings, guys. We're emotional. But, they've learned that that's how they get your attention and get you to do it. You'll never see me spread that kind of thing. I talk about the possibilities of what's going on there and why. I try to give you some background on why, what's going on that could make these things happen. I still don't see the best thing I get from people, because the DXY, guys, listen, this DXY idea, the idea that this may be bottomed, maybe, and heading up, this has very real implications for all markets. And if you are bullish on Bitcoin, then you need to explain cogently and coherently how the heck the DXY rises like this and Bitcoin continues to rise as well. Because there's not enough money in retail to make it rise from where it's at up there like that. Because your institutional money, if the DXY is doing this, your institutional money generally is going to leave Bitcoin. because it's a losing proposition for them. They're losing value. And you say, oh, but if they just hold it for 3 years, they'll be fine. Well, yeah, maybe, but there are no guarantees. And for many of them, first of all, it's either their personal wealth or, more importantly, company wealth. It's their capital, their treasury. They can't afford to hold out for 3 years and wait for it to maybe, drop down there and come back, because that affects the value of their company. That gives them less maneuverability. They can't position and do things the way they need to if they've got the value of their company dropping like that. So, again, I think a lot of new traders get out there and they think, oh, they've got all these pie-in-the-sky dreams about Bitcoin, which may or may not come true. But the problem with that is that they put that on these bigger professional people out there, thinking that they're going to think of things the same way as they do, and they don't. So, yeah. Let's see here. Let me see. Let me kind of catch up with you guys. What's going on, 2000X? Edward, good to see you guys. Let's see here. Yeah, generally targets of patterns are wave 3s, but sometimes they're wave 5. Sometimes they are. But again, when we trade, we generally try to look for what most likely happens. What happens most times in this situation. And we do it that way because even though, what's happened in the past doesn't guarantee it's going to happen in the future, if it's something that's happened multiple times before, then it becomes, a greater possibility that it's going to happen. So when you're looking for things about how, if you look for things about how, I don't know how to say this. Again, when you're trading, you want to trade with the odds in your favor, guys. There's a lot of people online that think it's cool to say they're contrarian traders. And they're just contrarian just to be contrarian. If they think their feed is saying something opposite, is all bearish or bullish, then they'll go the other way. Of course, as I've mentioned before, your feeds they're manicured for you guys. They're put together for you based on, all the stuff that the website tracks you with on and off their site. So you can't even go by that as a sentiment indicator because it's all curated. It's manicured, the way in which their feed is delivered to you, what's in your feed specifically. But don't ever be contrarian just to be contrarian. You go, oh, but Chris, you're contrarian. Look, you've been talking about the stock market's going to crash and everything. Yeah, but that's not to be contrarian. That's because we're talking about a grand super cycle top, in wave structure. We're talking about a 90-year cycle. In the stock market, we're talking about, all these other things that are going on. We're looking at the DXY, what's going on there. We're looking at the rest of the world and what's going on there. So, it's not to be contrarian just to be contrarian. It's because things aren't looking good overall. They're looking much more downtrendish than uptrendish. In 2008, I was short the stock market. And again, it wasn't to be contrarian just to be contrarian, but it was that whole subprime thing. 2 years prior, the big news was popping out, 2005, 2006, about how people's dogs were getting credit cards and mortgage loans and whatnot, papers, advertisements and whatnot. And it just took a little bit beyond that to get to where we were at. But it's not to be contrarian just to be contrarian. But that's what you see a lot of online, so you got to be careful with that. Buying the dip is fan speak for knife catching? Many times, yeah. Many times, yeah. Yeah, the euro does look pretty bad right now, 2000X, yeah. And that's my big one with the DXY because they almost run pretty much opposite each other. Still looking for a little bit more movement, on the DXY and the euro, getting past their respective wave 4s, but, it's all but said and done at the moment. Get back over here. Let's see what we got here. So we're bouncing off the 15-minute pivot at the moment here. We're also right above, as you can see here, the H4 pivot. So we'll continue to see if we get that breakdown further below that or not. This looks like 3 waves up. But that doesn't mean that it has to be the triangle. Again, this could be a 1, 2. And this could be, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. Overall, the retracement here of this move down has been, let's see here, just beyond the 50% mark here. So definitely some possibility that could be, an interior wave 2. So 1, 2, and this very interior 1, 2 here. And again, the consolidation just sets itself up for a large move down for wave 3. But, until it does, it looks like a triangle, and we should be watching for it to confirm the triangle. Let's see here. Google Emma says it's just unbelievable how many people on YouTube and crypto Twitter mislead new traders. Yeah, you know what? And I don't think that they're necessarily terrible people. I don't think that I would never sit up here and say they're trying to do it on purpose. I just think that, they're not, either they're not as good as they think they are, or they know they're not good, but they're trying to make money as influencers or whatever. If we've had this discussion before, because I don't do all the with my thumbnail image there on YouTube or anything, I don't do all the fantastical kind of, big, huge pictures and, oh my God, Bitcoin's going to drop $50,000 or something like that. I don't do all that. I've got a very subdued, just regular way of doing it. And if I did that, maybe I'd get more followers, but I'm not interested in setting you guys up to get caught. I'm not interested in, playing on your emotions. It doesn't serve anybody well. By the way, we can look at this we can look at this ascending channel here. I think somebody was maybe mentioning this a little bit earlier in chat, in this stream chat. So it looks like we're sitting right above that at the moment. So I mean, if I'm looking at this alone, forget everything else. To me, a breakdown of this channel here should have me looking at a target of about $2,330 below the point of breakdown. And so if we do that, then that takes us below this wave C, which suggests either wave C is still in progress, or wave C is coming down here, or this is a 1, 2 with that larger, 5 down around 16.5. But this is how you trade, guys. You find out, okay, what does it look like? Where are your invalidation and validation levels? We know that the triangles I have it labeled here, if this continues down below that wave C, we know that this triangle, as its label, is invalidated. But again, that also means it's possible this could be an A, a B, and a C down here to finish C. But if it drops down below A here, then we know that all the triangle ideas are invalidated. And the best you can hope for is this is an A, this is a B, and you have maybe a C right here as just a general zigzag. But, again, as we showed earlier, it becomes possible that we've got a 1, 2, 3 coming down there toward, 20,000. Get you at 5 towards 16.5. So, yeah, you just got to take it in strides, guys. You can't go in here thinking when you're trading that you can get in here thinking, oh, it's definitely going up from here. That's what causes you to lose money a lot. 2000X says the Hearst cycle on the monthly is at an all-time high on the stock market. The previous high was the October 1929. Oh, man, I need to check that out. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Again, we're talking about a 90-year cycle in stocks. And as well as that grand super cycle top there. I've seen some things. I'm not a big fan, I don't know enough about it, I guess, to really be anything good at it. But when you talk about some other type of cycles that have to do with lunar and sun cycles, but I'm also not dumb enough to believe that we can't possibly have something like that when we're all organic. If we understand the market as this what do you call it? Emotional thing, right? Markets are emotional. We don't want them to be, but they are. The players in it are emotional, right? And so if we consider that, and emotions are part of this being organic thing we've got going on, right? We're carbon-based, we're organic, right? That means we're susceptible to gravity and things like that, right? And so we get those gravitational pulls and whatnot that kind of affect our mood or how we're feeling, stuff like that. And so it's silly to think that doesn't potentially somehow have its effect on the market. And so I say all that just to get to the point, though. I've seen a few of these recently where they've been talking about different lunar or planetary cycles that align with the same idea of a grand supercycle top with Elliott Wave, 90-year cycle there, that we're looking at between Great Depression and now, those types of ideas. So I think there's a lot more going on there than most people are paying attention to. And it's because they don't know what to pay attention to, guys. Listen, I look at this every day, and we've got new things coming out. We've got new ways for people to get involved in the stock market with even less money. This type of thing happens at the top. Everybody wants the dollar to die because they think if the dollar dies, then Bitcoin runs and lives as a king. And I saw somebody with some ridiculous Zimbabwe type inflationary thing that they say the U.S. is going to, and it just doesn't make sense. All they're saying is, oh, look, I feel like the U.S. is printing a lot of actual dollar bills, so there's hyperinflation. I mean, that's really where they get to. They reference things like the Weimar thing with Germany 100 years ago now, and without an understanding of what actually happened there. There's some really poor history teaching. I'm going to tell you guys this right now. But, but these are the things that many of y'all are following online, and they don't make a lot of sense. But you don't know that because you don't have this type of education or this experience that you can put something with that, right? And so it's just enough to make it sound legitimate. And that's what I told you guys before about the internet. The internet's great because it's got all this free information. But the flip side to that is that a lot of the information is half-truths and sometimes outright lies. And if it's in a subject matter or something that you don't know yourself, it can sound legitimate even though it's complete BS. I'm telling you right now, there's no way the U.S. goes into some hyperinflation thing in the next 20 or 30 years. I don't believe that at all. I think if you want to see the USD decline throughout the world, I think the best you can hope for is it to decline out of its its world reserve currency status. But that isn't going to happen overnight. That's going to take years, guys. It's going to take years, decades for something like that to happen. So, again, this is the reality versus what you hear on crypto Twitter and whatnot. A couple of brokers offer fractional shares. Yeah, exactly. Fractional shares are everywhere now. It's ridiculous. Let me see here. So, anyway, hey there, Blockchain Gains. Good to see you. Kung Fu Panda has taught many bad things to people. This is kind of what we're looking at here. What's the confirmation for the triangle? The absolute confirmation, I think, the best you can get is a move above wave B. Because again, as I talked about in the beginning, if this is C, this could be A, B, C for D. So D could actually be up here. So not necessarily a move above here. If you're going to play this as a triangle and you get a reversal off this pivot area, this is where you'd want to look for that reversal. And if you get it off here, feel free to go long. But just make sure you're not going long blindly up to some target up here. Make sure you understand that you have to go through steps. You have to first get through D here. That's step one. You do that, that's good. You want to get through B. Now, the other thing is you have this descending channel thing going on here. So if you can break through that, that should add confidence to the idea that the bottom's potentially in here and you're headed up. But you still have to get above wave B and then above the swing high. And then you can start looking at the target. But if you're just getting in, if you see a bit of a reversal coming off of where it's at here, and you go long, just automatically looking up here at 47,288, there's too much that can happen here. Again, wave D could end up right here and come down for wave E, or I guess wave E here, and then head up. That's still a very, very real possibility here. But again, if we're here and we drop down below wave C, well, that opens up potentially an A, B, C to finish C. Then you have D and E to finish up. Or it continues dropping down below wave A to at least a minimum down here of around 28,270 or so. And then potentially, as low as 16.5 or lower. And that would just be, again, if we got down to that level, that would just be wave A, potentially. So, yeah, there's no one place you say, okay, right through here, it's definitely a triangle. That's all there is to it. No. You've got to, you say, okay, if it does this, then it's potentially a triangle. Let's start looking at our things we need to get by that can add confidence to our idea as it continues to advance. Yeah. Let me see here. Andre, what's going on? He says, U.S. needs political distrust and instability, too, for hyperinflation, not only money, but yeah, here's the reality of it, guys. The U.S., again, first of all, you say Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, when it started hyperinflation, was not a world reserve currency, okay? Period. That's one thing. Two, Zimbabwe was not, how do I say this without sounding like a jerk? Zimbabwe didn't have boots on the ground in 190 countries. In every country in the world. Every recognized country by their government, did they? These are things that make a difference because these are things that exert force. These are things that continue to give you support for your position that you're in. So we have all these things. It's not getting into that. I mean, that everything else aside, those two things right there keep it from turning into some sort of silliness as far as hyperinflation goes anytime soon. That doesn't mean it can't ever become hyperinflated, but I think it takes a while to get there. I think it has to get off the world reserve currency before it does. I think until then, everybody's still dependent on it. Right now, we're at the top of this credit thing. Again, things that most people don't understand. We're at the top of this credit bubble right now, which I think is popped or is in the process of popping. You have to, what that means. What that means is if the credit bubble is popped or is popping, there has to be an unwind of all that excessive speculation over the last 90 years. That's what we're talking about, guys. And stuff like that does not unwind easily. It does not unwind overnight. It takes quite a while. And it's a harsh thing. And so the problem with that is all of a sudden, the rest of the world holds so much U.S. debt. Again, it becomes the whole idea of them having to get those dollars. The longer they wait to get those dollars, the more expensive they become. That's why you have liquidity issues usually at those points like we had in March. And so the only way that a debt-based economy, like basically everything in the world now, continues to advance is if you're paying with cheaper dollars. That's why governments hate deflation. If you have to pay with more expensive dollars, your debt becomes more expensive. It's more expensive for you to get those dollars. You're not paying it off cheaper. So not only are you paying your debt plus your interest plus all this, but you're paying it with more expensive dollars. Your debt is costing you more money. So yeah. Let me see here. You believe the market is waiting for Trump's next move? I mean, honestly, this is whether it does something in response to something he says or does or not. I mean, the reality of it is this is what we've been going over the last few years and how this has played out and how we've been talking about it. This has already been written in. This is already expected. So it's not because Trump does something that the market tanks. It's because the market's overextended. The credit's overextended. People aren't convinced that the economy's okay. They can't, they get to the point where they just say, you know what? I can't take any more credit. This is stupid. I'm tapped. I'm maxed. I'm not going to go borrow more. But in order for this thing to continue, people have to continue. Credit has to expand, but we're not getting that. We're getting, contraction. So yeah. So we'll see. But anyway, guys, I'm really over time here. So I really need to get going. It's a lack of trust. That's how Bitcoin survives. Maybe a lack of trust among retail, but that's it. And retail doesn't have the money bags to really kind of keep pushing it up. And lots of retail that you guys are planning on money coming in are not going to come in because they're coming in they're looking at the dollar figure. They're like, man, if I buy today, I can sell tomorrow, make more money. If that's not happening, they're not interested. So, and if they're not interested, and your big players aren't interested. So you're left with your small little core group of believers, and price doesn't really go anywhere. I mean, it goes down, but it doesn't really make any, strides above where it's really at. So yeah, you got to have people that believe in that speculation, that believe in the fact it's going to go up higher. But if you see the dollar doing its thing and heading up, continuing to head up, there's not a lot in there to give them reason to do it. Because because Bitcoin loses value as the dollar goes up. It takes less dollars to buy Bitcoin. So yeah. But anyway, guys, so there you go. That's it. We hope Bitcoin does well, guys. I still hope it does. Then make me a very wealthy person if it does. But if it doesn't, you guys got to be smart enough to understand that and not to base all your hopes on it. Because what are you going to do if it doesn't? That's why we spend so much time in TWC, really teaching people how to trade. They can take these skills, they can use them in Forex and in, equities. Those markets are going to continue to be around. How do we know? Because they've been around hundreds of years, right? So we know they're going to continue being around. Do we know Bitcoin's going to continue to be around? No, we don't. We hope it does, but we don't know for a fact it will. So you should be, learning the skills that you need to be able to, if you want to be a trader. The question is, do you want to be a trader or do you just want to be Bitcoin rich? Because if you want to just be Bitcoin rich and you're looking for this $500,000 or $1 million payout and it never gets there, you'll go back to what you were doing before or worse. But as long as you're looking to learn to be a trader and you can trade all these different markets, commodities and stocks and, Forex and everything, at least you've got a chance of learning a skill set that's valuable and taking these same skill sets to somewhere else so you're not dependent on the market, on that particular market. If that market goes away, you can still use these skills in another market. That's the difference, guys. That's the difference. All right? So there we go, guys. You guys have a great day. Thanks a lot for checking in. As always, like I said, whether you believe COVID is such a strong thing as it is or not, I think you definitely should take some precautions, guys, if you're going to be out and about. Because you may find out that maybe you're one of those people who is susceptible really strongly to it. And you don't want to find that out the hard way. Put yourself in danger. I don't want any of y'all, having to deal with that. All right? So you guys have a great day. As always, thank you so much for checking in. Like I said, you can still join us for 25% off, guys. Anything we've got in there here at howtotradetowin.com. We'd love to have you come in and check us out for a month. Jump on that. If you're going to do it, jump on that tier 3. Get everything you possibly can. If you're only thinking a month, guys, just do tier 3 and just prepare to soak up as much education, everything as you can. Well, we have more content than you can absorb in a month on tier 3, but you can get through a good bit of it. Make it well worth the money that you spend. So, especially now with the 25% off. But anyway, there you go, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. As always, like I said, I'll be back Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. We'll take another look there, at Bitcoin and the DXY and everything. And follow me, TX West Capital on Twitter. I'll be on a couple of podcasts and things here over the next week or two. And I'll keep you guys updated on that. I think I've got one later this week. So there you go. Anyway, have a great day, guys. Remember, the only thing you control in the market is how much you lose. That's it. That's it. That's it. Take care.